What's up? It's George the Fragrance Apprentice. This was such an easy list to make, guys. And by easy, I mean as easy as juggling 5 things whilst walking on a tightrope over shark-infested waters. So, the end of the decade. The 2010s are nearly over. Fuck for that, am I right? It's been a unique decade in existence. But when it comes to fragrances, everything has changed. And I mean everything. There is the way that fragrance looked in 2010 from the way that it's going to look in 2020, completely different. And I and you are part of that. YouTube fragrance influencers influencing everything. I hate that freaking word. I absolutely despise the fucking word influence. It sounds like a villain, a group of villains from a George Orwell book. But yes, the internet, retail is dying. Jeremy, Demi, all of these different people who've come on the scene, myself, Chris, all of us, we have all brought the fragrance industry to where it is today. On the floor, in a ball, crying, begging for death. And there's actually one fragrance in particular in this list that has contributed to that effect, but we will get to that very shortly. But yes, it's been an incredible period of time, an incredible 10 years for fragrance. These past 2 to 3 years have been terrible when it comes to fragrance releases, but luckily the decade on a whole was quite something. There are going to be some fragrances in here that really mean a lot to me, that are very beautiful, that have impacted my life, impacted my fragrance journey, and impacted my journey on a whole. So let's just waste no time and get straight into it. Because it's been such a mega list, and because it's been so difficult, I've had to put 2 honourable mentions in here from 2 of, I'd say, the greatest fragrance auteurs of this decade. The first one is from the House of Strangers. This is SM Cafe. Is this one of the greatest of the decade? Yes, because it's the best coffee fragrance of the decade and probably the best coffee fragrance of all time. Coffee, leather, chocolate. It's very enticing, very sweet. Well, not too sweet. It's just got a tremendous way of using coffee, a way that has been sorely missed with other coffee fragrances. So incredible. It's definitely one of my favourites, but it's just not had quite as much of an impact as some of these other fragrances that are going to be on the list. And second of all, Oud Rain by RENIER Perfumes. The more that I wear this, the more that I'm into it, the more that I realise that this is absolutely an incredible fragrance. And RENIER, if you're watching, you know the big review that I have planned for this one. We need to speak about that very soon, because I think that the time is coming to get that review done. So now onto the actual list. Yes, like I said, these are my 10 personal favourites. I don't want anybody to go, where's this? Where's that? I don't own it, mate. That's where it is. It's in a shop and it's not here because I haven't paid the money to buy it. These are my 10 personal favourites from the decade. Number 10 is Salted Green Mango from Strangers. The reason why this is so low is because obviously I only really just got it in April, but this to me has been the greatest fragrance of 2019, the greatest fragrance release of 2019, easily, absolutely easily. It's just such a unique way of being an aquatic and citrus. It's got the mango shell, outer shell with some sea salt. It's got an incredible oceanic vibe. I just feel as though I'm by the sea, and it's really hot, and I've got some mango with me, chilling. It's really quite an artistic piece, and just one of the most unique ways of creating an aquatic fragrance, using more rougher elements and harsher elements such as the mango shell, which is very unique and brilliant, and it's the greatest release of 2019 in my opinion. Of course, Boss, the Scent Absolute, is the best designer of 2019 in my opinion, but as releases in general go, Salted Green Mango was the best out of 2019, there's no doubt in my mind. Number 9. Dear Fragrant Jesus, please forgive me for what I am about to do. Number 9. Look, if you want to speak objectively, this probably is the greatest fragrance of the decade, objectively speaking. It changed everything. This was basically the Star Wars of the fragrance world. It completely changed the industry, it changed the way that fragrances were made, it changed the way that fragrances could be operated. It really introduced clone houses and all of that stuff. But it has simultaneously made the fragrance industry so compelling and has completely wrecked it and destroyed it to the point where, like I said, it is now on the floor, in a ball, crying, begging, pleading for a merciful death. And part of the reason for that is AVENTUS. I think that it's a great fragrance. It's lovely, but I'm sick of it. I am so sick of it. I'm done with it. It probably, if it hadn't become the monster that it had become, even Erwin Creed isn't that bothered about it. Even Erwin's over AVENTUS. We're all over AVENTUS. Guys, it's all right. It's a good fragrance. It's brilliant. But it's not as insane and it's not as incredible as people think it is. It's just become so overdone and overwhelmed. It's a lovely fragrance. It's a great fragrance. But Jesus Christ, people need to get over it. Number 8 is from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. It's Oud Satin Mood. Just fantastic. Just a brilliant take on vanilla and oud. And just still very unique, very interesting, very warming. It's incredible. A really, really incredible, highly sought after oud vanilla based fragrance, and very classy and very unique, and one of Francis Kurkdjian's greatest ever creations. In fact, in my opinion, this is probably better than Lamal, to be honest. I know that is his most prized creation, but yeah, I've always thought that it's actually better. And yeah, it's when he really became the master perfumier that everybody claims him to be, when he made Oud Satin Mood. But it's not my favourite of his on the list. Number 7 is from the house of Armani Privé. This is Vetiver d'Eva. Yeah, I just think that it's fantastic. It's just always liked it, always found it so interesting and so delicate. And it's one of the greatest delicate fragrances that I've ever smelled. It's just really simple. It has a green, grassy kind of vibe towards it. And then you just pop in some freshly squeezed orange juice and a little bit of vetiver trimming. It's like one of those plates that you see in those really, really fancy restaurants where it's a really small serving, but it's presented so beautifully and so delicately. And when you taste it, it's just a lot of good ingredients just pushed into one little bite. That's really what this is to me. And it's always been one of the greatest fragrances that I've smelt this year. And I remember when I first smelt it, I thought, bloody hell, I have to have that. And I did, and I'm really, really happy that I've got it. Number 6 is from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and this is Aqua Universalis Forte. Similar kind of thing as Vetiver d'Eva. It's really simple, really clean, and it just works. It's one of those fragrances that I need where I want to smell good now, and I don't want to overthink and overcomplicate what I've got. But it's such a beautiful presentation. It's such a beautiful composition. An incredibly exquisite, stunningly well-crafted composition that's so straightforward, so simple, and like I said about this previously, you can have all the notes and all the gimmicks in the world, right? You can have, you can have oud to hide behind, you can have rose to hide behind, you can have this, you can have that to hide behind. What if you strip away all the gimmicks? What if you strip away all of the stuff that is stuff like, oud, where it's just like coming at you? What if you only have the bare bones and the most straightforward, simple elements and the most simple natural chemicals to work with? If you can make this, and you can make it smell good, and you can still make it smell interesting and enticing, you really know what you're doing. It's a beautiful, beautiful composition. So happy that I've got it. And, I'm not even halfway through it because it's very good projection longevity-wise. But if I run out of that tomorrow, I just get another one. Number 5. Now we're really getting into it. Now we're really getting into the fragrances that I absolutely adore. These, to me, were the most magical, the most incredible, the most mesmerizing fragrances of the 2010s. Number 5 Everybody talks about Aventus, everybody talks about Viking. You know what the greatest creed that was released this year was? Like, bar none, like it's not even close. Royal Oud. Royal Oud, in my opinion, was the greatest creed release of the 2010s. What an absolute... I mean, it's got its fans, it's got its rabid fans, which I suppose I am one. There are people who are so upset, myself included, that when Viking was announced, everybody was like, oh, finally, the sequel to Aventus. No. There's already been a follow-up, mate. It's this. It's like Star Wars coming out, and then Empire Strikes Back comes out, and then suddenly Return of the Jedi comes out, and people are going, oh, finally, the follow-up to Star Wars. No, mate. Empire Strikes Back came out before that and whooped its arse. This, to me, is one of the greatest creeds, probably my second favourite creed. It's peppery, it's no nonsense, it gets the job done, goes really well with my suit and tie. Incredible, impeccable, such a beautiful composition from a brand that isn't really known to be working with elements and darker, woodier elements such as Argerwood and Oud. So we're coming down now to, I wonder what you think is going to be number one. I'm intrigued to know what my favourite niche of the 2010s were. It was nearly this, but this is only number 4. This is KISTE by Slumberhouse. They've recently restocked up all the Slumberhouses. I cannot tell you whether this one smells like the one that's out right now, unfortunately, but bloody hell, this is so majestic, and it really changed the game when I smelled this. Really changed the game when I smelled this. This is sticky, it stains, you can see. You can even see the tanning sort of stains that are on the atomizer, because this is oil. This is pretty much oil, and you spray this on, it's going to just smell like oil. Or it's going to stick like oil, should I say. It doesn't smell like oil. But peaches, hay, vibrant, vivid, a massive, massive change from anything else that you could imagine, even when it comes to niche fragrances. This is a true indie fragrance. This is done, probably in a small bedroom, created in a small bedroom. There's a lot of oils, there's a huge oil concentration, and it tells a beautiful story of this summer day in Georgia where there's peaches growing, where there's hay bales, an absolute painting within a fragrance bottle. Speaking of paintings, my third favourite fragrance from the 2010s. I think that some of you might have even thought it was going to be number 1. No, it's number 3, it's Kisses Rain, but what an achievement. What an event. I am floored by the amount of people who love that review that I did with the paintings. For some people that will always be their favourite Fragrance Apprentice video. It's nice that I have created a channel where people can have favourites, people can have favourite videos of mine, and some people will say to me that Kisses Rain is the best thing that I've done. Others will say that it's the top 10 awesome 2016, and recently people have been saying that it's the Dark Light, but Kisses Rain was a special one, and it's a special fragrance, and it just connected with me, and it's absolutely a stunningly beautiful. I mean, I think you already know how I feel about this, but it's a compliment getter, it's artsy, it's romantic, it's beautiful. And as always, I'm going to ask Renier for an extension for the discount code next year, because it's helped a lot of people, it's done very well. But yes, you can buy Kisses Rain, and you can buy Oud Rain. You can buy any of the Renier fragrances right now at 15% off if you go to the website and you put in my discount code that Renier has lovingly given to this channel, TFA15, TFA15, and you can buy my third favourite fragrance of the decade for 15% off. But yeah, go watch the review. God, makes me emotional actually just thinking about it, Wow, I haven't got a lot of time, really, but yeah, it's a special fragrance. Number 2, I feel as though it has to be this. I feel as though it has to, it's got to be this, really. This is FEVE DELICIEUSE by Christian Dior. These two, oh God, they're so difficult. These two. they're so kind of intertwined to me. And in the past 2 to 3 years, I think that Kisses Rain is better. And especially with this new batch that Renier's done, Kisses Rain is whooping FEVE, and the fact that FEVE is apparently going to be discontinued, I don't know that for a fact, by the way. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm hearing from people that FEVE's going to be discontinued. And if FEVE is discontinued, I'll take it really well. I'll just have to hunt down the person who made that decision, kill them, their family, and everybody who ever knew them. But, you know, apart from that, I think I'll be fine. But if FEVE is gone, then I have to put it as number 2 and say this is just fantastic, and what an incredible, phenomenal fragrance, and something I really loved and something I really adored, really adored. And it's got me a lot of compliments, it's got me a lot of memories. Just, you can see how much I've used. You know, it's been really a big part of my fragrant decade. Number 1, this was difficult. You know, putting the list together was straightforward, it was simple. And I thought, what is the fragrance that really sort of affected me the most, that sort of I have some of the best memories, that defined my decade in a way. And it certainly defined, it defined a really big part of it, and something that really affected me, and something that I love, and something that just deserves to be number 1. So I don't know if you've heard of it. It's from the house of Fragrance One. It's called Office for Men. This one, I fucking got you, didn't I? Oh man, you believe me as well. Jesus Christ. No, I'm afraid, no, it's not Office for Men. I'm sorry, Jeremy. I hope that this does not take away from our Ferrari time. No, honestly, for real, my number 1 fragrance of the 2010s, niche fragrance of the 2010s, I'm going to give it to this guy, because you know what? It deserves it, and I've been rooting for this fragrance for such a long time, and I really love it, and I've got a very special period of my life that's associated with it, and I still wear it a lot. It's from the house of DIOR. It's called Sativa. Many years ago, in 2014, I got or 2013, I don't know, I got a sample pack when I bought Golden Boy, and in it was Sativa. And it reminded me of a holiday that I'd had on a barge. And I decided to go to, next time we had a barge holiday, I decided to take this fragrance with me, and I did a video. And that was basically the beginning of the Fragrance Apprentice as you know it today. You know, because that video went down very well, and people still love that video. And that is how I went to Estonia this month to shoot a tobacco veneer review. I've kept that going, and so this has got a very special connection with me. It's basically Grey Vetiver by Tom Ford, but with a ton more, like so much more sugar and sweetness and fruit and lemon and violets and Parma violets, and it's incredible, and it's beastly, so long lasting. It's incredible. It's an astonishing fragrance, and I smell it, and I get a little bit emotional about it. I get a bit of a lump in my throat, and I think about that period of my life, and yeah, it was the fragrance that really, in many ways, started it all. Started a lot of things out for me, and yeah, so Sativa, yeah, definitely is my personal favourite niche fragrance of the 2010s, and it means a lot, you know. Anyway, this has been actually a little bit more emotional than I thought it would be, to be completely honest. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you got some new ideas and things like that, and of course the links to all of these fragrances are in the description below. Anyway, I hope you really enjoyed this video. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to be doing my designer list tomorrow, and then I'll see you soon in 2020, and I hope that we have a fantastic year. Right, well, I'm the Fragrance Apprentice. Thanks. Bye. The slide.
side.